My name is Rosalie. My patient today is Jane. We have had an in-depth medical consultation and Jane has had thread lift treatments with me before. So today we're not going to do a full facial thread lift, we're just going to do the neck and the jawline. For the purpose of this video, Jane has brought along questions that she's asked me before, and these are all frequently asked questions. So Jane, would you like to go through your list and ask the questions that you feel that you'd like to know the answers to?
Yeah, so how effective would you say a thread lift is in respect of a surgical procedure? So a facelift that you would have as a surgical procedure as opposed to a thread lift, what's the difference?
Well, the difference between a surgical procedure, facelift, and a non-surgical is that I can't cut away excess skin. I don't use a scalpel or a knife, I use a needle. And so I am limited by how far back you can pull the skin because I can't remove any. That said, by just tweaking the skin back up like this, you do create a very effective result. But I cannot remove excess skin. So actually, to be honest with you, it prevents the wind tunnel look anyway because you can only go back so far. So that is the main difference.
And is it safe?
It is very safe in the right hands. So you have to be medically qualified, you have to be experienced, you have to have done the right training, you have to be regulated by the Care Quality Commission. I am also on consulting rooms and approved by consulting rooms, which is kind of like checktrade.com for aesthetic practitioners. So it is an extremely safe procedure in the right hands, but I will say a very unsafe procedure in people who are not qualified and regulated to do it.
And what are the risks?
There are very few risks with somebody who knows what they're doing. So in terms of side effects, which are expected things to happen, you can expect some bruising, you can expect some swelling. It may be uncomfortable for up to a week, but you can take paracetamol. So they are expected side effects. There is a small risk of infection, but we counter that by using one-use only equipment, a sterile environment, and I also give prophylactic antibiotics for 3 days. Prophylactic meaning just in case antibiotics. I've never had an infection in one of my patients in any of my treatments, but particularly in thread lifts, I've never ever had an infection happen. So there is a very, very small risk, but because the holes are so small and they close up so quickly, it is minimal. One thing that you need to know is that you can't fully correct significant asymmetry, but you don't make it any worse. It's just that some people may expect that they would have completely symmetrical faces following a thread lift, whereas in fact if they were asymmetrical before it was significant, then we would rectify it to an extent. So we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for massive improvements.
And is it painful?
The most painful part is the numbing process. So I use local anaesthetic, and it's the same anaesthetic the dentists use. It's called lignocaine, 2%, and although the injections are very, very tiny, they're the size of insulin needles, they can be stingy. But that process is very quick, and once that has happened, then you don't actually feel any pain from the procedure. You can feel some odd sensations because you can feel the threads going in, but they don't hurt. A bit like going to the dentist, you can feel the movement, you can feel some popping going on as we attach the skin to the thread, but you don't actually feel any pain from the thread lift procedure itself. And if you do, then it is minimal.
And how long does it last?
Well, it really depends on somebody's age, skin integrity, lifestyle, if they sit in the sun without SPF, if they smoke a lot, if they basically live in an unhealthy lifestyle, then it's going to last a lot shorter time. But with the moulded threads that I use, I'm seeing results lasting for 2 years plus. I had my thread lift 2 years last March and it's still holding well. So depending on what type of thread you use and depending on the patient's integrity, skin, age, environmental factors, it can last for up to 2 years. So as with yourself, you've had a thread lift 2 years ago, and now you're just looking to have the neck and the jawline topped up, so some of it is still holding well.
Mm-hmm. And what areas can be treated?
The most common areas are the mid-face, the jawline and the neck. I straighten and lift a lot of noses. People like the fox eye lift look. It's not something I'm a fan of, but I am trained in it. But also what's very common is eyebrow raises with using PDO thread lifts.
And can you feel the threads once they're in? Can you feel it after you've had the treatment?
For a few days afterwards, you can feel, because they're a little bit sore, you can feel that there is something there because you've got rough areas on the threads, which is what the skin holds the skin in place. So you can feel it for a few days, but once they're fully buried into your own tissue, then you can't actually feel them and you can't see them from day one. Nobody can see them, but you may feel that you've got something in your face for a few days, which is a little bit tender and uncomfortable.
And how long have you been doing thread?
Thread lifts I've been doing since 2016. I have done several courses, including an advanced course. I've done many threads since that time. I've developed and formulated and grown on my products and my techniques. I mean, the products that I use today are so much more refined than the products I started using in 2016, and the industry is producing better quality products as we go on.
One other question would be, have you ever had one that's not like somebody's regretted it, have said there's no difference? I mean, do you have any patients that can't see much of a difference and regret having it done?
I've had one person who was hoping for a better result than she got.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't regret having it done, but I think she perhaps had expectations that were way above what we were going to be able to create. I try and manage people's expectations really well, and therefore, apart from that one person, I've never had somebody who's regretted having it done. I've always had people who are delighted with the results, and you get your initial result, your initial mechanical lift, and then for 12 weeks after, it continues to improve and produces elastin and collagen. So by the end of 12 weeks, you've got a much better result than you started with, and after 5 months, the threads completely dissolve, so that all you've got left in your face is your own natural elasticin and collagen. It doesn't stop the aging process because the aging process is dynamic, but the results can last, as I said, for up to 2 years.
And have you had anybody have more than one thread lift? Have you had anybody come back and have another one?
Yes, I've had a lot of people coming back after 2 years to have their next one. So I've had people who are on their 4th thread lift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.